approached DC, there were two things that I never thought I would ever have imagined would happen. The first is that Coach DC would still be around 20 years later. And the second is that I'm standing here today, being honored for being a part of DC's LGBT history. And what I'd like to do is share a little bit about my own background and what led me to want to form an organization for South Asian LGBT people in DC. I was actually born and raised in the United States, in Chicago, and even though I was Indian American, I always had a really strong attachment to Indian culture and Indian values. And so I had a wonderful childhood, and after college I moved to the Bay Area for 2 years, and found a great sense of community there. The Bay Area is where I actually came out, and found a wonderful group of friends out there. It's where I finally really realized and acknowledged I was gay, started really forming strong friendships with other guys. And so I think when I look back on my 2 years there, it really just was a wonderful time in my life. And after 2 years there, I ended up moving to DC to go to school. And I was in school for 2 years, and that sense of community really disappeared because I was just so busy with school. And after I graduated, I found myself feeling really alone. I didn't have the distractions of school. I hadn't started a job yet. And I ended up making a really last-minute decision that was really going to change the course of my life. And that was to take the train up one Sunday morning to New York City for the 25th anniversary celebration of the Stonewall riots. And when I got there, it was just truly, truly incredible. I felt such an amazing sense of community. There were just so many other South Asian LGBT people. There were some celebrations that were being hosted by the New York group, SALVO, which is the South Asian LGBT organization there. And really towards, I think, the end of that those celebrations was when I actually met Oscar, and we were really floored to find that we were both in DC. And it's really there that the whole idea of starting a similar group in DC started. And ever since we did that, it's just been an incredible journey. And so I'm proud to say that now, 20 years later, I feel like no one really has to choose between being South Asian or LGBT, that those two identities can be very well integrated, and that we can, in DC, joyfully and publicly celebrate both identities. Thank you.
So back in the late 2000s, I met Mark Menke, who was one of the founders of the Dream History Project, and he was very interested in getting an oral history of Christian C. I was pleased to be asked, but at the time I didn't really think it was that important. We were happy to do what we did. And so I didn't follow up, and it slipped by the wayside. And then recently, two things happened in the last year, and one was that an exhibit opened at the Smithsonian called Beyond Bollywood, which for the first time documented and archived South Indian immigration to the United States and the history. And I learned for the first time that in 1790, an Indian sailor landed on the shores of Massachusetts, long before I ever wrote, and that there was a long period of Indians being part of the civil rights movement, of fighting for basic civil rights in California, citizenship, all those things. And then here I was, 200 years later, almost, another Indian immigrant to the United States. So I began to become aware of this trajectory of history that, until now, has really been undocumented and is now finally being captured. And then last year we had the 20th year celebration of Christian C, and there was a gala, and we were asked to say a few words. And Atul and I, once we both got out of the shop, we were 20 years older, thought about what we might say, and that again gave us a chance to really think through what this meant to us. So when Jeff contacted me some months after that, he said, insisted, said, hey, are you finally ready to give history? I said, yes, absolutely. So Dan Barnes, one of the volunteers, showed up at our place, and we began to talk, and she very cogently asked some really good questions. And for the first time, I really began to see what Chad mentioned, this arc. There's this arc of history, there's this arc of the rainbow. And I think it takes a certain amount of distance and perspective to begin to see that you're part of it, but it's also behind you. It stretches behind you, and it's stretching away from you. so when I left the Rainbow History Project archives is so well digitized and managed, it just gave me a tremendous amount of pride to think that the contributions to the South Asian community, not just the Indian community, but the very broad South Asian diaspora here in DC, at the line we have gotten the ball rolling, but there are many more to really kept alive, will now forever really be indelibly part of DC history and the history of this country. So from the first sailor who arrived in 1790 to the ones who will come after, I want to thank the Rainbow History Project for really helping us realize and seeing what I couldn't see back then. That history is colorful, our rainbow is colorful, and it